All right, just got done a day of laying up some ribs. I want to discuss, I'm going to go back. I had a few questions from the previous video, so I want to go back and touch on things that I didn't have a clue about. I'm building from plans. So first thing I did for the ribs was photocopy, 4 copies, and you saw those. I laid them out on templates. I created a template. What do you do for wood? I went down to a local lumber yard that we have, a specialty lumber yard, and picked up some Sitka spruce. I read a lot about it, and the wood I picked up is pretty good. I don't know if you can see it from there. With Sitka spruce, can you see that? Is it focusing? You should have with Sitka spruce, you should have 6 rings per inch, it says. That's from the EAA website. Now, when I'm counting the rings on this spruce, I've got a minimum of 6 on some of the worst parts. This board is good. I've got long 2x6s that I picked up, 35 board feet of 2x6s, or 1x6s, I'm sorry, 1x6s. This one is good, and I'm using it for the rib caps. The worst on this is probably 10 to 12 lines, rings per inch, and I'm getting up to, in some parts of it, 20 rings per inch. So that's nice, tight groove, or tight ringed spruce, and that's what you want. And if you look at this as well, I don't know if you can see it, the light's not that great. It is straight as an arrow. You don't want it coming off at angles. They say in the EEA manual, 1 to 15 ratio. And this is absolutely perfectly straight. So with this one board, it's pretty good. I do have a board that's, like I said, 8 rings per inch. I've got another board that's not perfectly straight. So we're going to use the best stuff for the rib caps. If it's not even, if it gets too many or too few rings per inch, we won't use that. But we can use it for maybe some of the shorter stuff. Take some of the chunks out that aren't as good, and then still use that board, parts of it, for the shorter things on the fuselage. Another thing that I was questioning, I was asking, well, how long to even cut these ones? It's got a curve to it. So how long was it? I had to figure it out. If you're going to be cutting the rib caps and doing everything by hand, the top rib cap is longer. It's 52 1/8. You can cut it. The bottom one's a little shorter. It's at 50 3/4 is what I have it. I cut boards to length of 54 1/2. I've got a planer, so you can take it down to the dimensions you need. And at 54 1/2, that leaves you enough to put the little front cap on the ribs. Other things that I wanted to talk about, I didn't even know where to start with tools. One thing that can't live without is a bandsaw. Second thing that I use just as much as a bandsaw is a sander. I've got a bench sander that I use, and it is used every day, all day. So that's another thing. If you're building by plans, you're going to need a table saw as well, and a thickness planer. You got to get it to the specific dimensions, and that is what you use. surface and gets it down to the thickness that you need. It's loud and it's messy, but it works. All right, let's see if this will work. This is your artsy-fartsy shot. If you're building from a kit, I'm assuming all that comes cut to what you need. So that's some questions that I had. Laying up everything, tons and tons of small clamps. You need lots of small clamps. And when you think you've got enough, just get some more. All right, that's it for today. I've got 14 ribs completed now. If you see, there's that Sitka that I was telling you about. Picking up that when I can. I haven't got my plywood yet. When I do, I'll start laying up the spar and getting the wings in place, and we'll be going on burning with fire from there on. That's it. Another day. Now I've got the Sitka spruce. You can use Dave at Fisher Flying was doing tests on northern white pine. I heard fir is also a good alternative, and hemlock. Again, with fir you want 8 rings per inch. Pine you want 6. Hemlock, I believe, is also 6 or 8. And when it's in a lumber yard, it's just sitting like this. What I did, I looked at it, and I don't know if you can see the lines. This one is good and tight. That one will be caps. That's a good, tight grain there, and nice and straight. This one, not quite as tight, but that's still probably 10, or some places right there. Gets a little wider. That's probably down to 8, 10 to 12. Look how tight it gets there. That one's pretty straight as well. There's one little spot in here that, let me zoom out. You've got a little bit of a wiggle in there, so that's kind of a blemish in there. This one here, you can tell it's a little wider. You're probably 6 to 8 rings per inch there. All these are pretty darn straight though. It's nothing horrible. Not like Home Depot crap. If you've ever had a thought of using any wood from there, don't. You'd never find anything like this. All right, that's the same thing you would look for though when you're looking at northern white pine or hemlock or fir. Tight grain, lots of grooves per inch, and nice and straight. Look at that. That is absolutely perfectly straight. That's a beautiful board. All right, just cleaned up after cutting a bunch of new rib caps. I did find something out where I screwed up in the first batch. Made them too big. They're supposed to be 3/8 wide. And these are closer to 1/2 inch. These are closer to 1/2 inch wide. See there? So, isn't going to be a problem.
what I might do is intersperse the bigger ones with the regular size ones, or add the bigger ones where there might be a need for more strength. Maybe where the struts come down and meet it. We'll see.